straight into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready and not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the boom, ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom, here comes the boom, ready and not. How you like me now?
You don't lose Cleveland, you lose Cincinnati.
You are watching live to the Best Damn Cincinnati Sports Podcast this side of Edison High School in Fresno, California.
Watch out there now.
How we doing? You know why I threw that in there.
Oh yeah, I know, brother.
But guys, it's great to be here. I'm Cincy James. We got Big Savage Greg, Bengal Dad, and then of course the Bengals legend, Mr. Ickey Shuffle himself, Ickey Woods. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes. Thanks for having me, my man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, we're just gonna dive right into it if that's all right with you. Just start with some questions because I know you don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah, go shoot, go for it.
All right, Greg, you start, brother.
So, Ickey, my coworker is Tom Gray Jr., and he said you were really close to Tom Gray Sr., the equipment manager. And I hear there's a funny story how he got you the number 30. Is it true you started out with 31?
I did, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Started out with 31, and when we went to camp, Bill Johnson had 30, and then we went to our running back meeting room, and they had Stanley Wilson first team, me second team, Bill Johnson third team. Well, Bill Johnson got pissed off because they put a rookie in front of him, and he left camp. And so when he left, I went into Tom Gray. I was like, Tom, can I get number 30? And Tom was like, no, you can't have 30 because, he's got to be gone 6 weeks. And I said, okay. So we just played the Jets, man. I had rushed for I rushed for 140 yards, had 2 touchdowns. And I go into Tom and I say, hey, Tom, it's been 6 weeks, man. Can I get the number 30? He's like, no, you can't get the number 30. And he said, you did great in 31. I said, well, I tell you what, if I don't have 30 in my locker, I ain't fucking playing come game time. And I walked out. And then, I came in and I had number 30 was sitting in my locker. I was like, woo, boy, that was close. Yeah.
What would you have done if that wasn't in your locker?
Yeah, but if it wasn't in my locker, I'd have threw 31 on my back and it'll come time to play, baby. Yeah, but I told, because I said, Tom, you told me I would get 30 after 6 weeks, man. If it ain't in my locker, I ain't playing. And I just turned around and walked out, and come game time, 30 was sitting in my locker. I was like, woo, thank you.
That's awesome.
That is great. Bengal Dad, go ahead and shoot.
Well, that's a good story. I was wondering why it took six weeks for you to get that number.
Yeah, it was. They had to wait 6 weeks to make sure Bill Johnson wasn't coming back. So I think it was that after 6 weeks he wasn't able to come back. So yeah.
Yeah, you started off 6-0, then you lost the first game that you wore number 30. I'm wondering if they were thinking we better flip that back.
No, we didn't lose the first game I wore 30. I don't think they did. We may have.
Yeah, I know you were 6-0, and then you went 6-1. I just can't remember who you played. Maybe it was
Yeah, we played New England.
New England. That's right.
Yeah, the New England Patriots. Yeah, but we had Well, you know what? I don't. You may be right, man. Because we played New England up in New England.
So a question I had, we had David Fulcher on the other day, and I asked him this question, and I'm
Fulcher.
In Super Bowl 23, when Saturday night rolls around, you get the word about Stanley.
Yeah.
How did that impact the game plan? How did it impact the morale? What was the overall effect of that?
Well, you could tell at the meeting that night that it impacted us real big, man, because Stanley was really an integral part of not only our offense, but the sideline. Stanley was a big morale guy, and he would walk up and down the sideline, cussing everybody out, especially if we wasn't playing well. And we missed that, man. We miss having him out there, man. And you know, he was and being a running back, being in the running back room, it really affected us because we had to go in Jim Anderson's room right after that divisional team meeting, and Jim was in there crying, and you know, and man, it was real emotional, and didn't get much sleep that night, man, tossing and turning, and you know, wondering, you know, damn, Stanley, what the hell, man, why would you, you know, just trying to figure out, you know, why this happened, you know, what the hell went wrong, and you know, we went out, and we still played a great game. But I'm telling you, man, we'd have had Stanley Wilson, it'd have been an entirely different ball game.
Yeah.
What you got, James?
I agree with that. Well, first I got to read this comment because this is my mom, and she said, "Houday, Ickey, you should have seen Cincy James do the Ickey Shuffle when he was young." Yes, I used to do the Ickey Shuffle all the time. And
yes.
That is actually my first question for you: is how did you come up with the Ickey Shuffle? Like, was it what went into like the thought process with all that?
Well, actually, man, I was sitting at home with my two oldest kids at the time, which were 5 and 2, and we're sitting at home, man. I'm listening to some music, and I flew my mom in. We were getting ready to play the Cleveland Browns. I flew my mom in for the game and listening to some music, and I said, "Mom, if I score tomorrow, this is what I'm gonna do." She was like, "Boy, you bet not do that." I was like, "Mom, I got to." So it started off where, you know, I scored and I kind of just jumped in the air and put my hands in between my legs like that. And then Ricky Dixon, who was our first round draft choice that year, he was the first round, I was the second round. And we got to know each other because we played in a couple of all-star games together. And he came up to me and he was like, Woods, what was that, man? I was like, "Man, that was my celebration dance." He was like, "Man, that ish was whack, man." I was like, "What you mean it was whack, Rick?" He said, "Yeah, bro, it was whack." I was like, "All right." I say, "So what you think, Rick? You think I ought to put some steps to it?" He was like, "Yeah, man, put some steps to it." So the whole week we were getting ready to play the New York Jets. The whole week before that, I couldn't think of nothing. I couldn't think of nothing to do. And then 5 minutes before it was time to go out and get warmed up, it just hit me. And I said, "Rick, check this out. This is what I'm gonna do if I score today. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna hop back 3 times and spike the ball." He was like, "Oh yeah, Ick, man, that's gonna be live. That's gonna be live." So I was like, "Cool." And I tell everybody, I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. We were winning ball games, and we made it to the Super Bowl that year. And it just took off, man. It just caught fire.
Oh yeah, I mean, people still do it today. Actually, Greg on another show that he does, he actually attempted the Ickey Shuffle.
Right.
So I'm not going to see a video right now.
I get everybody ask me, "Hey man, can you still do the shuffle?" I say, "Yeah, I still do it, but I do the chair shuffle now. You know, I sit in my chair and do it now. You know."
We'll have to see if Greg is willing to send the video to you of him doing.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I don't want you ticked off at me and never want to speak to me ever again. It's pretty bad.
Actually,
hey, Big Greg, you won't be the first one butchered my dance up, man. So don't worry about it, brother.
Okay, appreciate it.
Well, we've got a fan of the show here, Crypt Keeper. He says, "Mr. Woods, was the Super Bowl field in Miami the worst professional football field you ever played on? What's your take on it?"
Oh yeah, man. The footing was horrible, man. It seemed like the night before they ran the water irritation there, man. The field was coming up in chunks, man. It was horrible, man. Yeah, it was one of the worst fields I ever played on. You know, as far as a professional, man, it was horrible, man. You know, the footing was crazy. You couldn't cuts because the grass would come up, and it was horrible.
I was, when the Super Bowl happened, I was 5 years old, and that's when I became a Bengals fan. I was 5, and almost 41 now, and I just remember seeing the 49ers helmet and the Bengals helmet on the screen, and they kind of went like that.
Yeah.
And I saw the Bengals helmet, and obviously living in Cincinnati area, I was, drawn to the Cincinnati helmet. And ever since then, seeing you guys out on that field, that's what did it for me.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. We had a great team that year. We did some fun things, man, and it was fun to be a part of. And it was fun because the city was rocking, and everybody was loving us, and I'm happy we got this guy named Joe Burrows to bring us back into the forefront, and hopefully we can get some stuff around him and keep our defense intact, man. And I think we'll make a run for it next year.
Absolutely, Greg, go ahead and
Ickey, I have to ask you this. How did the whole cold cuts commercial start a couple of years ago? Please tell us how that all got started.
Man, I'm actually at home. I'm on my computer getting some work done, and I get a phone call from somebody in the Bengals organization, and they asked me. They said they had a call come in from somebody from the Martin agency wanting to know if I was interested in doing a commercial. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm interested. Well, she said, you want me to give them your number? Or you want to take their number? I said, well, I tell you what, you give them my number and have them call me, but also give me their number just in case. And so probably about an hour passed, and a lady called me, Suzanne from the Martin agency called me and said that they were considering doing a commercial. And they wanted to see if I was interested, and I was like, well, what's the premise of the commercial? And she was like, well, we don't know yet, but we're going to send you out an NDA. You're going to have to sign an NDA, and then we'll be able to tell you who the client is. Because the first thing I asked is who is the commercial for? And they said they couldn't tell me that until I signed the NDA. So I signed the NDA, and then she came back and said it was for Geico. And I said, okay. I said, oh, yeah, we're interested. So we got the numbers put together, and she said, well, we're going to fly you out to Beverly Hills, and we're going to do the commercial shoot there. So we go to Beverly Hills, and our first shoot is at the grocery store. We actually did 3 different shoots, and then they were going to choose which one that they thought would work. So we did the grocery store one. And as we're going through the grocery store, I did a little ad-libbing on the end of it. They had me, go through there, slap the high five, and then kind of go back to the cart and lean over the cart and act like I'm reading a label on one of the packages that were in the cart. Well, I did that 2 times, and I was like, man, that shit whack. Excuse my language. I said, man, that shit whack. I ain't doing that no more. So the third time we go back through there, I get to the cart, and instead of leaning over the cart, I just jump up in there and say, "Woo! I'm gonna get me some cold cuts today." They were like, "Oh, we love it." So they kind of threw that in there, man. It was just it worked out great. And then the second one, they had me in this house. We were at a table, and me and this young girl was playing the game Yahtzee. And I throw the dice, and I yell Yahtzee, and I get up and start doing the shuffle. And then the last one, I'm out on my porch, and I'm watering the grass, and the paper boy comes by and throw the paper, and I catch the paper in midair and say, "Oh, I still got it," and then I break out into the shuffle. And so they chose the grocery store one, which I thought was a good one, and it worked out well.
Get some cold cuts. Yeah.
Woo! Yes, sir.
Oh my God. Bengal Dad, go ahead.
So probably an obvious question that you probably get asked a lot. Ickey. Where does Ickey come from?
Well, my birth given name is Elbert, Elbert. And when I was born at the time, my grandfather came and told my mom that he wanted to name me, and so he named me Elbert, and my mom didn't like that too much. My older brother, his name is Rodney, and so my mom was going to name me Roderick, but my grandfather stepped in, and so my older brother couldn't pronounce Elbert, so he used to call me Ickey all the time. And so to make it easier for him, my mom started calling me Ickey, and it's kind of ironic. We grew up Koki and Ickey. His name was Koki, my name was Ickey. So we both had nicknames, and I've had it ever since I was 1. So that's pretty much the name I go by unless I'm doing business or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
If your grandfather hadn't stepped in, we wouldn't have the Ickey Shuffle. We'd have the Roderick Shuffle.
Well, you right about that, brother. You right about that. So we got to thank him for something out there.
Sure.
Absolutely.
But growing up with that name Elbert, boy, you sure get a lot talked about, man. I tell you. But you know what? I can tell you, there's a lot of. Like I said, I had the name Ickey ever since I was 1. So I always thought my name was Ickey. So my first encounter of my name being Elbert was when I was in the 1st grade. I go to school, and in 1st grade they do roll call, and then they call out your name, and the teacher say, when I call your name, raise your hand, say let me know you're here. And so they going through all the names, and then we get down to the end because Woods, the W is normally at the end of the alphabet. So she says, Elbert Woods. And I'm looking around, so she says, Elbert Woods. She says it again. And I'm still looking around like, who's she talking to? And then, and then she looks at me and she said, what's your name? I said, Ickey. She said, what's your last name? I said, Woods. She said, Ickey Woods. I said, yes. She said, okay. So she said, and I was the only one left. So that's how I found out why my name was Elbert. So I go home and I'm like, Mom, is my name Elbert? She said, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. That's your name. I was like, oh. So, I was bigger than everybody else. So I didn't have to, but I didn't have to worry about them, calling my name out, because they get beat up if they said Elbert, because I figured that wasn't my name, so you can't use that. But the teacher, everybody, as I went up through elementary school and all that, man, everybody called me Ickey. So yeah, so they only. Yeah, I think that was the only time that she called me Elbert in the class, because once I said Ickey, she started saying Ickey Woods on roll call and everything. So that was my first encounter with my government name, should I say?
I got a football question. So, most memorable performance for you personally in a game, whether that's high school or college or pros, what's that one game that sticks out to you that you always think fondly of?
I think it had to be the game my senior year in college when I was rushing for the national championship. Really, not the national championship. When I was rushing to become the nation's leading rusher my senior year. So I had to get 4 yards to become the nation's leading rusher, and I had to get 5 yards to get a touchdown to tie the score up for my team, and I happened to get them both at the same time. Got to become the nation's leading rusher and got to tie the game up as well. So I think that was probably one of my fondest memories, just leading the nation in rushing my senior year.
That's awesome. And I think Greg might have a question to go along with college.
Yeah, just one quick question. What was it like playing with Randall Cunningham? Because he was a great quarterback in the 90s. I remember 90s. I don't remember him with the Eagles, but I remember him when Randy Moss was a rookie.
Yeah.
He did a great job with them. What was Randall Cunningham like as a teammate?
Oh man, he was awesome, man. He was a heck of a talent. You know, Randall was also an All-American punter.
Ooh.
You know, he punted in college, and when he was with the Eagles, he kicked a 70-yarder when he was with the Eagles as well. So yeah, he was All-American. Yeah, you can look that up, man. Randall Cunningham kicked a 70-yard punt when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. So yeah, he was a hell of a talent, man. Just sitting back watching him, man, was unbelievable because he was so much better than everybody else on the field, man. It was unbelievable just to sit there and at that time I was just a freshman coming in. So it was really amazing to me some of the stuff that he did, man, and it was unbelievable.
We've kind of hit that 20-minute mark. You got a few more minutes, or
Yeah, go ahead, man. We can work it out.
Okay, just making sure. Bengal Dad, go ahead.
Do you have any fond or fun stories about Sam Weish?
I don't know if it's a fun story. It's kind of a story where me and Sam kind of got into, and I had to cuss at him one time, you know, because it was right after I got hurt my sophomore year. I get hurt against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm on crutches, and I come into the meeting room, and we had lost a couple of games, and so they were getting ready to go out to LA and play the Raiders at the time was in LA. So they were going out to play the Raiders. And so before the meeting even started, I'm sitting next to Solomon, and me and Solomon is talking. And Sam was getting ready to start the meeting. So he kind of turns over to me and he says, "Ickey, shut up." And I kind of look up at him and I say, "Okay." And that's cool. I was talking, so let me shut my ass up. That's cool. I was talking, so I did. So I shut up, and then he goes on and he's talking, and he started talking about guys going out to LA and getting into mischief and things that they shouldn't get into. And so, Mr. Guy, y'all had on your show last week, a couple of days ago, Mr. Fulcher mutters under his breath, calls out somebody's name. And me and Solomon and a few other people turned around to see who said it. And so Sam said, "Ickey, didn't I tell you to shut up?" And I kind of turned around like, Coach, that wasn't me. I said, "I ain't say nothing." He said, "That's what I said about you," because I was on IR at the time. He said, "That's what I said about you IR players come in my meetings, messing my meetings up." And the whole time he yapping at me, I'm saying, "Coach, that wasn't me, Coach. Coach, I didn't say anything, Coach. You had already told me to shut up, so I didn't say nothing, Coach." And he's still going at me. And so he said, "If you don't like it, you can get your ass up and get out of here." So I'm on crutches. I said, "Okay." So I get up and I tap Solomon, "Man, let me up out of here. He ain't gonna just keep talking to me crazy like this." And I ain't said nothing. So I'm getting up and I'm walking out. And by the time I get up to the top, he said, "Good. Get out of here because you don't play on Sundays no way." I said, "Fuck you, Holmes," and scooted my ass right on up. Scooted my ass right on up out the meeting room. And then the manager come out there and told me I got to go home because I didn't cuss Sam out. And I'm like, I said, all right. So, but I can tell you guys one thing. At that time, Mr. Fulcher was an all-pro safety. All he had to do was say, "Hey, Coach, I'm sorry, that was me. I didn't mean it." And everything would have been squashed at that time. But no, he sat up there and let me get cussed out and didn't even step in and say anything. I said, boy, I thought that was really wrong, and I'm still salty at him to this day for that shit, man. I'm serious. Yeah, he could have stepped in at any time and said, Coach, I'm sorry, that was me. And Coach would have squashed it because he was an all-pro safety. What was Sam going to do to him? Nothing at all. But no, he sat up there and let me get my ass cussed out and didn't say not one word. And so, so I was real salty at his ass for a long time.
We need to get you two on the same podcast together.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to, because I sure cuss his ass out again. Every time I tell him, I say, that's some bullshit, man. I say, you let me sit up there and get cussed out knowing you said that. And you ain't even try to say, Coach, I'm sorry, that was me. I said, bro, you was an all-pro safety. What was Sam going to say to you? He probably would have said, okay, I'm sorry, and went on about the meeting. But no, you sat up there and let me get cussed out for some shit you did. Yeah, sorry. That type of shit give me a little heated every time I tell that story, man, because I'm really pissed that day for that, man.
It's funny. He didn't.
I'm not asking any more questions.
And I know he ain't mentioned that when he came on your show.
No,
he did not. We need to have. Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get you two on the show.
Yes.
And we'll just dip out and
right.
No, dude, we'll just listen the entire time.
Yeah. All pro safety David Fulcher.
That might be the new Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco podcast. Is you?
Oh yeah, get him on now.
Oh my gosh. Well, how we doing on time, Mick? We doing okay?
We good, man. We good. Go ahead.
No,
Okay.
This is awesome.
Awesome. Greg, go for it, brother.
Okay, let's see here. What was your first thought thinking, I'm going to Cincinnati? Did you know anything about Cincinnati? What was your first thought about Cincinnati?
I did not. My agent said there's 3 teams that we don't want to go to, and Cincinnati happened to be one of them. Okay. So, but, as I got into Cincinnati and, got to know the city and everything, it turned out to be a pretty decent place. Yeah.
You even got Paul Brown to do the Ickey Shuffle.
You know what, man? That was amazing, man. That was amazing to see Paul Brown doing the shuffle, man. I couldn't believe it because PB don't hardly do nothing. I got a story about him too. So we sitting in the locker room and every time PB comes into the locker room, he comes in, he goes straight to the back to the coach's room. Come in, straight to the back to the coach's room. Every time you look up, you see PB, he coming straight in, he going straight to the coach's room in the back. Well, this particular day, he comes in, he looks over at me, and he starts walking towards me. And so I'm running through my mind, what the hell did I do? I couldn't think of nothing that I did. I said, I know I didn't do anything, man. Why is PB coming over here? And so I was like, oh, shit. So he said, hey. I said, hey, PB, how you doing? He said, oh, I'm doing okay. He said, I just wanted to tell you. He said, personally, I don't care for that little shuffle that you do. He said, but my wife loves it. You can do it anytime you get ready. I said, oh, shit. I said, there go the green light, baby. There go the green light. He gave me the green light. Okay, cool. I love it. Yeah, man. He told me he didn't care too much for it, but his wife loves it, and I can do it anytime I get ready. I said, all right then, PB. Thank you, sir.
We've got a comment here in the chat. Do you keep in touch with a lot of your old teammates besides Fulcher, obviously? No.
Well, I do. Eric Thomas is still in town. Solomon Wilcox, as you know, I do a lot of fundraising for my son's foundation, and I have a big golf outing every year, the first Monday in May at the Heritage Club, and I get a lot of the guys to come out to my golf outing, and then Anthony has a golf outing. Joe does one for goodwill, and a few other guys have outings that we go to. So during the year, there's probably about maybe 20 to 25 guys that were on that 88, 89 team that still lives in the Cincinnati area. So I get to see those guys quite a bit.
Nice. We actually have another comment in here. I don't know if you know who YB Assad is, but he's done several Bengals songs. He's a rapper, and he's done several Bengals songs. And he's got a line saying they tried to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't Ickey.
Okay. There it is.
Yeah.
That sound pretty good right there.
Yeah.
I didn't heard a couple of rap tunes that had me in there. That I appreciate that. Tell him I said thank you.
Absolutely. And he's in the chat so he can hear you. So that's awesome.
Okay. Peace, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate you shouting your boy out.
There it is. Bengal Dad, what you got there?
I'm good right now. I'm just listening. I'm enjoying this now.
Right. Oh, I know. There is another one in the. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, there you are. There is another comment in the chat here. Any spinny field stories?
Yes.
Man, that was one of the horriblest places to practice at, man. The smell was horrible, man. There's a whole bunch of shitty stories about spinning field, man. It was horrible when I first got here. When I first got here, they're a professional team, and so I thought. So when I first got here, man, they had tubs where they had socks and they had a tub of jock straps. Now, they would wash all the socks and all the jock straps in the same wash and put them in a bin and want you to go in there and pull you a pair of socks and a jock out of bin where you don't know where that jock been. I said, "Shit, boy." I said, I'm bringing my own shit. I ain't putting on no jock that somebody else didn't wore. Man, y'all got to be crazy up in here.
Right?
Yeah, man. Spinny field was horrible, man. I'm so glad that the Bengals have kind of moved into the 21st century, man, and starting to do a lot of things right for the players, man. Guys want to come here now. In the past, guys didn't want to come here, man. They didn't want to come to Cincinnati, man, because Cincinnati wasn't I'm not going to say they wasn't a professional outfit, but they didn't show to be a professional outfit. But now people want to come here. They want to play in Cincinnati, which is a good thing. The Bengals are starting to pony up and pay players for their services, man, and it's a good thing.
What do you think changed?
Honestly, I think they had to change with the times, man. The old guard stuff just doesn't work anymore. They're starting to get the younger Brown family in there. Katie and her husband are starting to make a few more decisions now because Mike's getting a little older, and then they have their kids that's coming in and helping out, bringing them into the 21st century, starting to do some things that other clubs have been doing already. They're starting to do now, like the Ring of Honor and things like that, trying to bring that in and start recognizing guys for their contributions to the organization.
But well, kudos to Mike Brown for letting go of some of that control.
That would have to had happened in order for the Bengals to move into the 21st century. Mike Brown had to realize that he had to loosen up the rings a little bit.
Absolutely. How we doing on time, Mick?
We good, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, the chain guy, Foxy, he said that you should come to the second annual Jackpot Joey golf outing in May. That's another one. Jackpot Joey golf scramble. So do you
May
know
what?
Do you know what Jackpot Joey is?
I do not.
It's a brand, and they came up with this brand after Joe Burrow was drafted, and
Right.
they do hats and shirts, and actually Jamar Chase has worn the 9 Jackpot Joey hat several times. T. Higgins has.
They got a beer, don't they?
Yeah, they've got a beer too. They do all kinds of stuff, but they had a golf scramble last year. That was the first one they had, and we went out to it. It was a good time. But Fulcher was there. There were some other guys. Trenton Irwin was there. T. Higgins actually showed up too. Stanley Morgan. But yeah, should come out, check it out.
When is it?
May 19th, I believe, this year.
I have to look at my calendar and see if I'm in town or not.
Yeah. But so, he put that in the chat. I was like, okay, I'm going to throw it out there. Since you started talking about a bunch of golf scrambles, I was like,
no doubt, no doubt.
go.
Yeah, if I'm in town, I'll definitely come check it out. I had to check my calendar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see, Greg. I know you've got another question.
No, so here's a question I have. My boss told me about this game. When you guys, everybody credits the Bills for the no-huddle offense. The Bengals started it because I heard during that AFC Championship game in '89 before the Super Bowl that Marv Levy was getting ticked off because he didn't have enough time to rotate his defense.
Cried like a baby before the game. They came in and told us that we couldn't run our no-huddle offense because it didn't give the defense time to get prepared. I said, well, hell, the defense need to be prepared anyway. Shit, right. We shouldn't have to wait on them to get ready. And so he was like, they came in and Sam White came in hot too. I can't believe this. They talking about we can't run our no-huddle offense because Marv Levy crying like a little old beep. And I was like, okay, coach, what we going to do, we got to do. So before the game even started, Sam was like, forget them. We've been run our no-huddle offense. They just gonna have to throw the flag on us. And that's what we did. And then Marv Levy, being a little crybaby and a little copycat that he was, took it and went to the Super Bowl with it the next 4 years. But now all of a sudden the Buffalo Bills started the no-huddle offense. Man, get out of here.
Thank you.
The K-gun is what they called it, the K-gun.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to throw a new name on it, but there ain't no new name on it, man. We started that. Y'all just copied us, but took it the next 4 years and went to the Super Bowl and couldn't win one. Boy, I know that had to be a rough one.
Watch
it's rough to get to the Super Bowl, but to go 4 years straight and not win one, that had to be hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think was the coolest thing about the Bengal offense was how deceptive Boomer and Stanley were on the play action fake.
Oh, yeah.
The camera
very
was
deceptive.
always going down. The camera didn't know where the ball was.
You don't. Yeah, and that was one thing that helped us is that we had the hell of an offensive line, and our running game was just so dominant that they would think we had the ball all the time because hell, every time we touched the ball, we running 4-5 yards down the field, and so defenses got to the point where they were overflowing, just running front side, and then that's where I was one of the great cutback runners of our time because I knew the defense was going to try to fly over, and then when they do that, Anthony or Joe would cut off the backside, and then I just kind of whirl it around and cut it back, and man, it just took off, man. They got to the point where they just designed the play to do that,
So, in terms of today's game, do you have a running back that you watch that you just absolutely love watching him run?
Boy down in Tennessee, Derrick Henry. Man, he's that boy, that monster, man.
You mean the
I like
linebacker?
I really like watching him, man. He's so hard to bring down, and you got to get him before he turn it north and south.
Yep.
Because if he turn it north and south, boy, you in trouble. You got to get him before he get going now. Because you don't get him before he get going, he'll load to bring down. I like that kid. I like the boy Joe Mixon too. Joe just danced too much for me. He gotta hit it and get it north and south. But yeah, man, I like those two guys, man. Those two guys really stand out to me. And then you got a couple of little scat backs, the little JBs I call them. The little James Brooks. The little scat guys that get out and get it done, man. But I really like the guy down there in Tennessee, man. I like him a lot.
Well, speaking of Joe Mixon, I went to the Taste of the Bengals this past year, and you were there, and I got a picture of you hugging Joe Mixon when you guys saw each other. Yeah, and that is one of my favorite pictures that I've taken in the last year or so. Just seeing like the old school and the new school together, just chatting.
Yeah, I love Mix, man. Mix is a great kid, man. Not only a great kid. He's a great steward for the Bengals too, man. He's a great leader for the team, and I just I love what he did, and I told him that I love that he put his money into incentives into his contract. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so he took a pay cut and put the incentives in his contract. And I told him, hey man, that's the way to do it. Go out there and earn that money. Go out there and get your money. The right way. You got guys out here that don't want to do that, man. They want to get the big paydays, and they don't want to, take a pay cut to make things happen. And and it's probably gonna come down to our boy Joe Burrow restructuring his contract to, maybe to keep a couple of guys, but we gotta definitely find a way to keep T. Higgins, man. I can't say that enough, man.
So do you think they'll franchise tag him and then try to work a deal out, or
they may have to franchise tag him because I think our boy is still under contract right now, but I don't want to get into a point where we gotta try to sign T and Jamar. We get into that, that's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying? So, and the more times they franchise tag him, the more we get closer to that, well, we're going to have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I agree with you there. Do you want to well, actually, guys, do you guys have any other questions?
I don't.
No.
Okay. Ickey, why don't you talk about the Javonte Woods Foundation? Let everybody know what that is, how it came to be, and what people can do to try to help.
Yeah, man. Well, it's called the Javonte Woods Foundation, and it's named after my son. I lost him 13 years ago to asthma, and so I started a foundation in his name called the Javonte Woods Foundation, and Javonte is spelled Jovante, woodsfoundation.org. You can go on our website. You can donate on our website. You can go on there and see what type of fundraisers we got coming up. We got a great cruise coming up in June, so you can get on there and get signed up for our cruise. In June, we got a golf outing here in Vegas on April 15th. You can go on there and get information on our golf outing here in Vegas. Then we have our golf outing in Cincinnati, May the 6th at the Heritage Club. We're always looking for sponsorships. We're always looking to get people in there to help us raise this money to fight this deadly disease that killed my baby. Didn't know asthma can kill until it took my baby from me. I grew up with a touch of asthma as a child, and my whole thinking was you take your inhaler, you'll be okay, and that's really not the case. And when it took my baby from me, I started doing some research, and come to find out asthma is the fastest growing disease in America, but it's the least amount of money, if not spent on finding a cure, finding a better way to treat it. And since 1980, asthma has risen 80% in the age of the kids first being born to the age of 19. A real alarming statistic that just kind of blew me out the water 13 years ago when I started this is there was 15 people a day dying from asthma. And now that we've been at this for 13 years and educating people and, letting people know the severity and the seriousness of asthma, that number has went down to 11. So we're making some waves, and we just need people to keep helping us, keep coming on. You can go on our website. We got a store on the website where you can get memorabilia stuff to, for Christmas, for birthdays, for parties. I do speaking engagements. I do it all so we can raise money to fight this deadly disease that took my baby from me. That's my life's mission now. That's all I do. I do the foundation full time, and it's all about saving lives and helping others. That's what it's all about. That's our legacy now is to hopefully save some lives in the process and help people not go through the pain and suffering that we went through of losing a loved one to this disease.
Absolutely. And that website again is www.javantewoodsfoundation.org. We've got it on the screen there for you. Go there, check it out, get something, do a donation, whatever you can do, or even just share the website. Maybe you can't do anything with it right now, but somebody else can. And by you sharing that, you might open somebody else's eyes to it. So
no doubt. And if you're ever looking for speaking engagements, appearances, and things like that, just go to Jermaine, Jermaine, Jermaine at JavanteWoodsFoundation.org. Make a request, and we'll make sure that we get you taken care of. We're always out to raise money, and we're always out to help people. That's what the foundation's about.
Absolutely. Now, you said you were going to give us 20 minutes, and you gave us 47. So thank you so much for being on here, taking the time out, and just being one of the dudes. That's what it felt like. Didn't feel like an interview. It felt like you were one of the dudes.
Just hanging out, man, telling some stories, trying, getting a few laughs, because that's what it's all about, man. It's all about, just being honest, being true to yourself, and just hopefully can have fun in your life. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, Ickey, thank you so much again for hopping on here.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me. And hey, guys, you can help the foundation out. We really appreciate it. God bless you guys, man. You guys have a good one.
You too.
Thank you so
all
much.
right, brother.
Man, that was awesome. Really, really enjoyed that.
Yep.
That I mean, wow.
I kept because Greg, you had said he said he can give us 20 minutes, and it's like, okay, cool. It seems like every time somebody tells us that, they end up staying a lot longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if that says anything about us or what, but it seems like a good thing.
It can't be a bad thing.
Right.
No. But no, one thing's for sure. We definitely need to get Ickey and David here so we can hear we can hear both sides of the story here. We definitely need to make that happen.
Absolutely. Well, real quick before we head out of here, Super Bowl predictions. Greg?
Travis Kelce will get over 100 yards. They'll show Taylor Swift a million times. But in the end, 28-27 San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Bengal Dad?
I don't really have a score. I think it's going to be probably about a 3-point game, and I think Kansas City is going to find a way.
Probably.
They're used to it. They're going to find a way.
I've been telling people all week at work, I've been saying the 49ers are going to win. Christian McCaffrey's going to get MVP. I think he's going to have a big game. That's my bold prediction, if you will, for it. I don't know if it's bold, but it's a prediction nonetheless.
Well, having a running back winning MVP would be a bold prediction.
That's true. So I'll go with that. Yeah, it is bold. But
one more thing before we go. Can you believe this? A week from now, pitchers and catchers report to spring training.
Oh, yeah.
baseball season's coming up. I'm excited. I think we're all excited. We'll see. Definitely a lot of young talent coming up. So hopefully we'll be getting to some Red Stock. And by the way, I told James this. Everything's all good for next week, James. I'll let you make the announcement.
Oh, okay, cool. So Greg has been awesome with lining up guests for the show. 95% of the people that are on here, Greg has lined up for us. He's done it again. So next week, we've got a gentleman that should be in the Hall of Fame, is not yet, but Ken Anderson, former quarterback of the Bengals, played his entire career with Cincinnati, is going to be on the show next week, I believe Tuesday, right?
Yeah, now Tuesday at 7 p.m. He can't do that day after. Well, it's Valentine's Day and it's his birthday. And I didn't want to schedule on Valentine's Day because I know people like to go out on Valentine's Day. So, yeah, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Kenny Anderson's going to be on. I managed to get a hold, and we're just so excited for this.
Yep. And I'm going to agree with Matt Walker. Yeah, Greg's the man. Getting all these guys on here. Pretty soon, I think we're going to have the entire rosters of both Super Bowl teams on, it seems like. Absolutely.
I mean, I know I've said this so much to you guys. I just can't believe I'm doing this. If I were to know a year or two ago, I was going to be doing this. Is just so cool to do, and we can't thank you enough, and the viewers for tuning in. Also, thank you so much. This is just I still ask myself, how did I get here? Which is so cool.
Well, Greg, you're doing a fantastic job at it. You are paving the way for other people to want to come on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're doing a fantastic job.
You know what? I just go by. There's an old Wayne Gretzky quote. I'm not even a hockey fan, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You just reach out. You hope you hear, and we're just so blessed when anybody ever comes on. And this like we only thought we were going to get 20 minutes in. We ended up getting almost 47 minutes, which is just so cool. And this is just, like I say, I'm just blessed. That's all I can say. Just blessed. We can do what we can.
Well, while you're on a roll, you might as well go after Burrow.
You know what? I will go after. You know what, man? Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So, hopefully we'll see what happens. I don't make any promises, but we'll see what happens. But I was just truly, truly grateful for this. I'm still speechless. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm waiting for him to get Yoshi on.
Yeah, I reached out to Yoshi.
You already have Yoshi.
I have reached out. I don't want to get in trouble. I got to be careful. But yeah, everybody keeps saying, "How come you?" I've reached out. We just
the restraining order makes it tough, doesn't it?
Yeah, the restraining order kind of scares people off. I can't imagine why or anything. I mean, who would say such a thing and all that and stuff? But yeah, no.
Oh goodness! If you guys do want to laugh, go on Bengals and Brews on Twitter. Check out Greg's Struggle Shuffle, I think it was called.
That's what it was. I know a guy named Tony Lopez who actually lives right near me where I live, and he's the one that said, Pork Chop, you're watching this, man. That needs to be a T-shirt. That's a good one right there. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
The Struggle Shuffle. So check that out. But yeah, for Bengal Dad, Big Savage Greg, I'm Cincy James. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we're going to get out of here. Hooday!
Hooday!
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the